All right, here in the Law Abiding Biker Shop with Oscar. What is the project today, Oscar? What do you have in your hand?
I've got a shocking new topic for our videos.
Very clever. Very clever.
444 progressive shock for my 2013 Ultra Limited.
And why did you go with the progressive 444 on your Ultra instead of the 944?
The 944 shock is the same except for it lowers the bike an inch. I went with the 444. It keeps the stock ride height. I'm over 6 feet tall, so I didn't want the bike to be any lower.
And just so you know, the 944s on your Ultras and full touring and all that, it does lower it an inch, but with a road glide or street glide with the 944, it doesn't because they're already an inch lower, so it keeps it at stock height. Just something to know. And if you appreciate the videos we put out, you want to get hooked up with progressive shocks, links in the description below. You can get them right from the Law Abiding Biker store. It assures we can continue to help educate and entertain as many bikers as we can worldwide. We appreciate it. And why overall you're getting rid of your stock air system on your Harley to go with the 444s. Why?
Right, the air shocks leak, and what I found on mine, they were fine the first couple of years, but what I found on mine now is they start to leak more and more. And if you don't check them and they bleed down far enough, that's a potentially real dangerous situation. It can cause a crash. I want to be able to just get on my bike and ride. This, other than maybe setting some preload if I have luggage, I don't have to worry about ever checking anything except the tire pressure. I can just get on day to day and ride.
Yeah, this is a good mod for anybody out there with the old air shock system. Get rid of it, get one of these. The ride compared to the old air shocks with these progressives is night and day, and we've done a bunch of these. So with that said,
let's do it.
Get wrenching.
All right.
All right, just gonna get the saddlebags out of the way here. And these are aftermarket. These are our awesome Rick Rack saddlebag safety bolts. Way better than those old stock clips, and even better than the new ones. In our store, you can get them, link in the description below. I get that saddlebag out of the way, we'll do the same on the other side. He's cranking that mini jack just so he gets that rear wheel, just so it's barely has weight on it, and that will take some of the pressure and make getting these stock rear shocks off a lot easier. Okay, at the top of these stock shocks, you've just got the old air lines there, and it's just a push-pull system. And you can see he pulled the collar there, and that released all the air out of the system. All right, and Oscar's just pulling out his stock lines there. They just pull out because there's no reason. He's never going to use them again. He's going to get them off the bike on both sides here. All right, and with a 3/4 inch socket, he's going to break that top shock bolt. Of course, there's one at the top and one at the bottom. And he's moved on down to the lower one there. All right, and you got that top one released there. And just finishing off that bottom one. Of course, we have the weight off the bike, so that comes right out. And he'll do the same on the other side. And you can see he's just finishing up here on the right side of the bike. And don't forget, before you leave this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon every time those are hit. Another biker joins the revolution. We would love to have you be part of it. So your kit comes with some hardware. We're going to reuse the top and bottom stock bolts. However, we're going to get rid of the stock flat washer. We're going to keep the lock washer, the stock lock washer, and then your kit comes with that new flat washer. You're going to do this with each bolt, top and bottom, for both sides. All right, so the interesting thing is your kit comes with these shouldered sleeves. They go in top and bottom. They only go in one side, and if you try to force it in the other side, it simply just won't fit, and if you try, you'll find out. So flip your shock around, and it will easily go in the proper side. And so he's already got the top one there and the bottom one. And so just get your shock set up that way. So now he's setting the new progressive 444 shock in place. Of course, we've already got our washers and things. We showed you that. On the back side is a spacer that will come in your kit. The shouldered sleeve, that shoulder goes to the inside, both top and bottom. So make sure you have this orientated right. And he'll just get that finger started. And same thing on the bottom. He's got that spacer on the inside, his washers on the outside, the shouldered sleeve, the shoulder to the inside, and he'll get that finger started also. And he's just taking a little more weight off the bike so he can get that hole lined up just right. And that's what's nice about the setup, makes it super easy. You could do this on the floor. Of course, you don't actually have to have the lift table, but at least a jack to put under your bike so you can make the necessary adjustments like he's doing to get things lined up. All right, and so he's just getting these basically finger started. You want to leave these loose before we go to the right side because the right side is just a bit harder to line up. That'll give us just a little extra play that we might need. All right, and it definitely helps to have a partner on the other side of the bike, not only to work the mini jack up and down so you can get things lined up, but to get the top lined up, we actually had me lifting up on the back of the bike in the trunk just to give us a little bit more to get it lined up. Okay, he's coming back around. Of course, we left these pretty loose over here. And so both sides, top and bottom, he's just gonna tighten these down with his socket there, and then we'll go around and we'll torque everything. All right, and he's got his torque wrench now, and this calls for 35 foot-pounds. He's gonna go around top, bottom, and both sides, of course. So now we're at the point we're gonna adjust proper sag, which is 1 inch, and I'm gonna kind of tell you how you do that. So the first thing is you'll just need a tape measure, and basically you'll wanna measure from the center of your axle to any point up here on your fender strut is fine. We just did it right at 12 inches, and you can make a mark with a Sharpie just so you measure to the same point. So the first thing to start, we have no preload on these shocks, so they're backed counterclockwise all the way out. First thing you want to do is have somebody lift the back of the bike to take all the pressure off the shock, and you want to take a measurement from the center of that axle to that mark, and you want to notate that. Then we're going to go ahead and get a rider up on the bike, make sure the rider bounces a few times to settle the shocks. We'll take a second measurement to the same point, center of axle to that mark. Then you're going to take your second measurement and you're going to subtract it from your first measurement. That's basically going to give you your sag number. Okay, at this point, if you don't have the right number and you have too much sag, then you simply turn the collar clockwise. That will actually add preload, thus raise the rear of the bike. There's little marks on the collar, so you kind of know how many turns you did, because you need to do it the same to both sides. Now, if you're at a point where you add too much preload and you need a little more sag, well, then you turn the collar counterclockwise. Thus, that will lower the bike for you and add more sag. An interesting point on these particular heavy duty 444s is we have no preload on them, so the collars are backed all the way out. And with Oscar riding without a passenger and not a lot of luggage, he's right at the 1 inch sag with the collars backed all the way out, no preload. So really we couldn't do anything else. So he's right at the perfect range. Now, the beautiful part is when he adds a passenger and luggage, he's going to sag too much. So he can actually add some preload to them by turning them clockwise. And we'll measure it with the rider and the gear on the bike. And he'll just make a mental note of which mark on the collar he's at with the proper sag. And though from there on out, he knows where to adjust it for single rider, and he knows where to adjust it for rider, passenger with luggage. Another really nice addition to your toolbox is a TUSK sliding sag scale. We sell it right in the Law Abiding Biker store. I'll link to it in the description below. The reason is it takes the math out of it. So it slides like so, all right? And it's got inches and millimeters for measurement. And it's also got this adjuster knob. You can lock it down. Right here is where you put it at the center of your axle, so it makes it very easy. And so you can place it on your bike like so, and you can make your mark right at 0. And of course, if it's a dirt bike or something, you can use the slider to get it where you need it. Once you set that, very simple. You just do your process of rider off the bike and rider on the bike, and there's no math, and it will tell you the difference and where you're at with your sag. All right, so Oscar's gonna test the 444s, of course. And make sure you're subscribed to the Law Abiding Biker podcast, link in the description below, because he's going to give a full review and his thoughts on these new progressives.